Hey guys, this is Naveen here. Welcome back to Naveen Automation Labs. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how to handle multi-language support application and how to automate them. For example, let's see this is application which is un.org and this is supported with multiple locale. Like you can see this in English also, in French also. This is I guess Russian, this is Spanish, this is Chinese, and you can check in Arabic also like this. You just need to click on multiple languages link over here and everything will be changed here. How will you handle that? Do you need to create multiple frameworks for that for the different languages, or within the same framework we have to adjust that? There are different multiple approaches, so we will talk about the easy one and the very famous approach that I was using in a couple of projects earlier. So if you notice one thing, let's see, this is a by default English. First of all, URL also getting changed. After un.org, it's en. When you click on French, it is coming like FR over here. Ignore this, notification. Just this is coming from the browser. Then you click on English over here, and then what you do is that let's inspect anything. For example, let's say you want to inspect peace, dignity, and equality or something like this. So you right click on it and go to inspect and try to inspect this guy. Here you can see that the locator and other properties will remain same. Only the title value will be different in case of a new language. Let's see if I'm clicking on the French and you see this title and this text will be changed. See this, I'm clicking on this French now, and here you can see that it's coming in the French now. Right, same thing if you see in other language, in Russian, so it will be according to title equal to Russian language and this one. So only the text is getting changed. It's not like that HTML tag or other properties will be changed or their attributes will be changed. It's not like that. The template of the HTML DOM will remain same. The only thing is their values, their keys will be different as compared to on the basis of that language specific. So back to English. For example, let's see if you slightly scroll it down. Let's go to the footer of the page. On the footer of the page, you can see contact. I want to verify the contact is there or not. So here, if you inspect this guy, here you can see that by.link text and contact is available if you really want to use it in Selenium. But same thing if you go to the French, everything will remain same. The only thing is now it is doing something like this. You inspect over here like this, and then it's giving you contacts something like this in French language, but their href property, the parent tag, the main tag, HTML tag, everything will remain same here. Right, so here you have to understand first, this is a layout, this is a basic template, this is how all the application works. The HTML DOM and everything will remain same, only and only the search string keys will be different, specific to the locale or specific to the language. Okay, so how will you automate that? So to automate this, let's simple design a basic design that what exactly we're going to do that. So for every language specific, I'm going to maintain some properties file over here. So let's see, this is for French, this is for English, and let's see, this is for Russian, this is for Arabic or something like this, right? Okay, let's see, this is for Russian and this is for Arabic. So these are my config.properties file. So this is, I'll write, this is my config file in the form of properties file. In Java, we will be using it. You can maintain some JSON file also or XML file also, but config.properties file will maintain the data in the form of key and value pair format. So better we use it. This and easy to maintain and easy to read and write also. So you maintain these things and then define the respective keys over here. I'll show you some examples when we design it. So let's see, this is my URL is equal to what? un.org French. Then the contact key. So key will remain same here for all the for English also contact will remain same like this, but their respective values will be according to the French language. In English, the key will be contact only for the contact link, but the respective value will be according to the English. Same thing for Russia and same thing for other languages also. After that, what we have to do is we will create some other utilities. For example, we will maintain one driver factory, which will, or whatever the name, or util class or base class, whatever you want to use it. So let's see, this is my driver factory.java class. In this class, I'm going to initialize my driver here. So this is for initializing of the driver. After that, I'm going to maintain another class. Let's see, this is my util class for element. So this is my element util class. And then here I'll be writing my bilocators method and find element, some utilities I'll be writing it over here. Bilocator on the basis of XPath, on the basis of CSS, and so on. So this is a separate utility. This is my driver factory.java class, and this is my element util.java class. After that, I'm going to maintain, now we have to follow the page object model. So we have to create one page over here. So let's see, this is my home page.java, and we know that for every page, we have to create a separate Java class according to the page object model. So this is my home page.java that I have created. Under this home page.java, what we have to maintain that we have to see, now I cannot use @findby over here. I'll tell you why. So we will not use @findby. We will not use a typical bilocator also. I'll tell you why, because there is a limitation and we need to get the values dynamically on the basis of the language that you are using it. Then we will create some page actions over here, right? These are the page actions. They will be calling some methods. Which method? Which is going to use the find element method. We are going to use it. So we will create one find element method. On top of that, we will create a wrapper, and then which is actually internally calling this element util method, which is actually saying, okay, fine, I want to pass the XPath or give me the find element or something like this. And then I'll be performing some .click or .send keys, whatever that you want to use it over here. I'll show you practically. Okay. So this is a homepage.java, and then I'll be creating my test class because test is separately written. So let's see, this is my home test.java file. We will be using it. And here, this is, we can create one base test over here. This is the parent of all the test classes, where we will be maintaining our, let's see, before test and then after test, we will be using it. And here we will start writing our test cases over here. Multiple test cases, we will be writing it like this. Okay, so this is a simple design. We have to maintain the page object model design pattern as well. And then along with different utilities, we have to use it. Now what we have to do is, we have to create one more separate class over here. This class is called the config class. Config.java class, we will be using it. This config.java class, okay, will interact with these files, because we have to get the properties class object on the basis of which language that you are using it. So we will create one method over here, which is used to initialize a property. So method name will be initialize property method. And we will tell, okay, fine, we want English. So if I'm passing English over here, so it will connect with English and then load all the properties from English properties file, right? If I'm passing French, then it will connect with French and then load all the properties from the French language and so on like that. So this is what we have to use it. So we need to pass this parameter, this language parameter in this particular method, this initialize property method. Okay, so what we can do, maybe we can use it from the Maven. So we will pass the command line parameter like this when we install with, when we run the test cases from the Maven. So we will write Maven clean install, right? Something like this, -d. And I'll say, okay, language is equal to what? Language is equal to French. So what will happen? It will start running your test cases, French. So we will read this parameter, this language parameter, we will read it over here. And then on the basis of that, we will connect to the French language. And then we will load all the properties from the French configuration.properties file. So this is the basic design at very high level. So let's start writing the code. This video will be slightly long, guys, so please watch till the end, and I'm pretty much sure that will be a great learning for you guys. Okay, so we will be using the Maven project. This Maven project I have already created so that we won't waste our time unnecessary. And then what exactly I'm going to do that under this src main Java, I'll be creating all my utilities, factory and everything. Under src test Java, I'll be writing my test cases, and then we have to maintain some properties also. So for maintaining the properties, I'm going to create some resources. So right click on your project and go to new, and let's create some source folder here. One source folder, let's see, I'm writing, this is my src main resources, and then click on finish. And then under this resources, we have to create a file. Let's see, just like we create for the environment specific file, same thing we have to create it for the language specific file. So for example, let's see, I'm going to write that this is my language dot, which language, let's see, language dot French dot properties file. Okay, And here I'll be maintaining all the French properties related keywords over here. And let me maintain one more English also. So I'll be writing that's okay fine lang dot English dot properties file I'm going to maintain. There is a spelling mistake, 1 second. It's properties actually. Okay. Now how will you maintain? So I'll go to my French dot properties. Now see this carefully. This is very important thing. I simply write one key over here that okay, this language is equal to French. What will be the URL? So for French language, the URL is this. So this is, I'll just copy this. So at the runtime, I'll pick this URL to launch my URL directly on French, so that we don't need to click on the French language or English language link on the page. We will directly launch the URL on the basis of the language parameter. And then let's see, I want to verify that this header is available or not. Pick something like this. I really don't know how to speak French, but let's see. I'll simply copy this first text over here, something like this, or maybe I'll be using in XPath contains, or maybe by.link text, something I'll be using it. So I'll do one thing. This is my what? This is, let's see, page header, some header key I'm maintaining it, and this is the header. I'm not using the second header also. Let's say I'm just using this one. Okay. Then I'm doing what? I want to capture the title of the page also. See, title of the page also coming on the basis of the language. So see, this is a title. So what we can do is right click on it and go to view page source, and let's capture the title in French language. So this is the title. Copy this, and this is my title, which is equal to this. Okay. Other than that, if any specific element that you are looking for example, let's go to the footer and let's see this one. This is my contact, and I'll be using this one. Okay. So the key is in English. See this, guys. This is what you have to notice. This key will be in English because this is my reference key, and the respective language specific keywords we have to write it over here. So contact will be visible in French like this, contacts, knows, or something like this. Okay. So let's see, these are the 4-5 keywords we have used, and later on if you really want to interact with some more elements, you can keep adding it over here. I'm using it one simple POC. So let's go to the English one, and for English one also I'll just copy paste. Language is equal to what? The language is equal to English in this case, and it will be EN. Instead of that, you can cross check. You simply go to, let's see, English and observe the URL. After slash it is EN. So I'm writing EN over here. And what will be the header? See, header in this case, it's coming in English only. So I'll copy this header and I'll simply paste it over here. So this is my English header. See, the key is remain same. Key will remain same, header. And what will be the title? The title is what? Right click on it and go to view page source. And English title is this. I copy this entire thing, and this will be my okay title. And what will be the footer? Contact page, contact link. See, this is contact. So I'll inspect this guy. Okay, and then see, I'll be using by.link text or maybe XPath. So I'll be using this contact here. Okay, so I'll remove this French keyword and pass it to English. So likewise, you can create multiple properties. One is for Japanese, one is for English, French, Chinese, and Arabic and Russian. Keep creating it. That you can do it later because concept and template will remain same for everyone. Now this is all properties got created. Now I quickly go to src main Java and I'm going to create a separate package for that. Let's see, this is my config reader package, or let's see, config reader package here. Whatever the package name, guys, that you want to use it. Right now I'm not focusing on the naming convention or something like this. Let's see, config reader package I have created. Under this config reader, what exactly I'm going to do, that I'm going to create a class, and my class name is let's see, config reader.java class, that I'm going to use it. Okay, and in this config.reader.java, we are going to use what? We are going to config reader, or let's see, config prop, something like this, config prop reader class. I'm going to use it here. Okay, let's write a better name, property reader. Okay, rename it. Now what exactly I'm going to do that here, I'm going to maintain one private properties reference here first at the class level. So let's say this is properties, and import your properties from java.util package. I'm going to maintain one private file input stream class object also, because we need this stream so that we can use it, okay, in when reading the properties. And then I'll start creating a simple method. I'm pretty much sure most of the people, they are aware of how to read the properties. So properties file. So I'll write that, okay, initially, let's see, this is my initialize language prop, something like this, that I'm using it. Okay, and then what exactly I'm gonna do that, I'll say fine that you give me what, you give me one, let's see, initially you give me one language, whatever the language that, okay, you want to use. On the basis of that, we will switch it. So I'll write one system.out.println. I'll say that, okay, that language is whatever the language that you are passing it over here. And then I'm going to create this prop object. I'm going to initialize with the properties. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to use one switch case statement here. And what will be my key? The key is this language that you are passing over here. Now anyone can pass the language in any language, right? In any cases, it could be a small case also, it could be a uppercase also. So I'll do one thing, whatever, if you're passing capital French or capital English or small English or whatever, every time I'm going to convert that into a lowercase here. Perfect. And then I'm going to maintain different lowercase values. So if you are giving me English, then what exactly I'm going to do that here, this file input stream class object that I have created, which I'm going to write, which is equal to new file input stream, and where exactly your properties file path for English. So what exactly I'm going to do that, this is my English properties, right click on it, go to properties and copy this path from src. Okay, and I'm going to use it over here like this, in double quotes, put a dot /, it means go to your current project directory, and from src main resources, it means you have to create the stream with language.english.properties like that. Okay, once this is done, you just break it. And then I'm going to create multiple cases, case number 2, and let's see case number 3. And let's see, this is my for French, and this is for Russian. Although Russian properties file we haven't created, but later on, if you really want to create that, you just keep adding the number of cases over here like this. In this case, make sure there is no spelling mistake that you are going to write. So lang dot, I'm going to write, this is my French properties, and if tomorrow you want to create some Russian properties, so I simple write Russian dot properties like that, you can create that. And in the default case, I'll be printing one system.out.println, this a language not found or something like this. Along with that, whatever the language that you are passing, I'll be printing it over here like this. And see this, now this statement will give you what, surround with try catch blocks. Do not use add throws declaration, otherwise this will throw the exception, and the method which is going to call this method, that also has to pass the throws exception. So what I'll do one thing, that this entire switch block I'll write inside the try. And another thing is that, and just closing it over here. One more thing, that once you make the connection, the stream over here, now you have to load the property. So I'll simple write prop.load method, I'll be using it, and I'll passing the respective input file input stream class object here. Right, so let's see, if language is equal to English, key is English, now it will go to this case, IP is equal to pointing to this particular properties, and then load the properties from English IP only, like that. So at a time only one properties will be initialized like that. Okay, so this is the property.load, and this is my try block is getting ended over here, and then I'm going to write one catch, and then I'll write, let's see, one exception E here. So this class is ready now. Okay, I'm not going to touch this class. Only thing is that once this function is ended, instead of void, this function should return what? The respective properties. So I'll simply write prop object you have to return. So instead of void, what should I write? Instead of void, I have to write properties over here because this function is giving you properties class object reference. Okay guys, so this is ready now. Okay, now we will go back to the main Java once again, and this under this main Java we are going to create one driver factory class also. So let's create one more class, and then I'm going to write one. This is my driver factory class. In this class I'm going to initialize my driver. Let's say I'm going to maintain my public web driver first, like this initially, and I'm going to create one method here that is public void and initialize a driver method. And this initialize driver method says, okay, fine, you give me what? You give me that which browser that you want. So I'll just add one switch case for the browser, and then you give me the properties also. So let's say I'm passing the prop object over here as well, like this. Okay, import the respective things. After that, what should I do? After that, I'll quickly say that on which browser that you want to run. So let's say I'll just print it first of all that your browser name is plus browser name, and then I'll be writing either if else or you can write switch case also. So let me write one switch case statement. This is my browser name key. You can pass any browser in lowercase or uppercase. Whatever you are passing, I'll be converting into the lowercase every time. And then the value will be what? The first value, let's see, I'll be writing a Chrome over here. And then I'll be initializing my WebDriver manager as a Bonnie Gracia. Let's see, Chrome driver, or you can write system.setProperty and then give the path of the Chrome driver.exe file also. That also you can do that. And then I'll be initializing my driver is equal to new Chrome driver here. I'm not using remote WebDriver right now, so just let it be simple here. Okay. After that, I'll be creating multiple cases. Case number 2, case number 3. Let's see, this is for Firefox and this is for Safari. And for Chrome driver, I'll be using Firefox driver. And instead of this, I'll be using Firefox driver over here. For Safari, we don't need any Safari driver executable. We just simply directly write Safari driver over here to launch with Safari. If nothing is happening, it will just simply come to the default and then system.out.println. I'll write that, okay, please pass the right browser name. Okay, and whatever the browser that you are passing it, I'll be appending it over here. And now see this carefully, what exactly I'm going to do that. I'm going to launch the URL after that. So I'll write driver.get and where exactly the URL is available. The URL is available in the properties file. See, we have maintained this particular key URL. And this is also a URL key written over here. Right, guys? Okay, so what we have to do, we have to read this particular URL. So how will you read that? So for reading this, I'll simply come over here. That's why I'm passing this prop object over here. So how we use that? Prop.getProperty method, and the key is what? The key is URL. I'll be reading it at the runtime. So I'm not going to use the hard-coded value over here. After that, let's see, I want to use driver.manage.delete all the cookies and driver.manage.window. I'll be using the maximize window, and then finally I'm using the return driver over here. Later on, if you really want to apply for parallel execution point of view, you can apply the thread local concept also later on. So I'm just using the normal driver, and see, this will return the driver because I need the driver. So instead of void, what should I write? I have to write WebDriver here because this method is giving you driver, and driver is what? Driver is WebDriver type. So we have to write WebDriver over here. Okay. So let's see, this method is also ready now. We don't want to touch any other thing in this matter. Very plain, very simple method that I have created. Now what we have to do after this? After that, we have to create one more class. So I'll do one thing. I'm going to create another package over here. Okay, let's do one thing. Right click on it and let's move this, create a package, and let's see, my package name is the factory package. Okay, and move this driver factory.java actually to this package. Just click on OK. Okay, so I have one factory package, I have one config reader package, and then I'm going to create separate one that is my util package. So something like this, let's see, utils package, and under this utils package, I'm going to create one element util class. Okay guys, element util.java class. See this design I told you, right? We have to maintain one element util class also. Okay, and you will get to know why we are creating all these things, and we are just right now creating multiple components, and then we will integrate all the components with each other. Okay. Now element util class is doing what? Element util class is important, that which is having some utilities with respect to creating the web element, creating the buy locator, and something like this. So I'll do one thing. Element util is having its own private WebDriver. Okay, and then I'm going to create one public constructor of this class. Let's see, element util, and this guy will say, okay, fine, you give me the WebDriver, and the same WebDriver with the help of this keyword I'll be using and giving to this guy. Okay, and you simple import this one. Okay, because when someone is calling this element util class object, creating the object, this constructor will be called, and then we have to give the driver. I don't need to write the logic for WebDriver once again, the driver equal to new Chrome driver. And some people, what they do the mistake is that element util is extending driver factory. No, they should not be extending the driver factory. Actually, there is a spelling mistake. It should be driver factory. Okay, let's rename it. Rename to driverfactory.java. Okay, now we will see in some time how to call this element util. Now I'm going to create a method over here. The first method that I'm going to create, that public void get element method here. It means you give me the buy locator, and then I'll be returning what? I'll be using my driver.findElement, and then I'll be using the same buy locator that you are passing. And instead of web void, I'll be using a web element here. Why? Because driver.findElement will return what? It will return a web element. Perfect. Then I'm going to overload this method once again. So let's see, public void get element method. This time I'm saying, okay, fine, you give me the locator type, and then you give me its locator value also. Right, guys? It means you give me, let's say, xpath, xpath value, css, css value, like that when you call this function, and then we will create the element at the runtime. So how will you do that? Okay, so we need what? So I'll be writing, okay, fine, I want to return driver.findElement, but we need a buy locator. So for that, how will you get the buy locator? So for that, what exactly I'm going to do that? This will help me to, this will help me to create the XPath for the different languages. I'll show you practically how to do that. But let's create the utility first. I'm going to create a simple utility which will return the buy. You must have seen these methods like get buy, and having two parameters. The first parameter is locator type, and the second parameter is locator value. So let's see those these two parameters. I'm going to use it, and this will give you the buy locator. Initially, what I'm going to do that I simply create one buy locator which is pointing to null, and then I'm going to maintain my switch over here, switch case, and this will become my key locator value. Convert that everything into the lowercase, because someone can pass the capital X path also, capital CSS selector also, capital ID also, whatever you're giving, and then we are converting everything into the lowercase, and then I'm going to maintain my cases over here. Let's see, my first case is equal to ID. So how will you do that? Then I'm going to initialize with this locator, which is equal to what? Which is equal to buy dot. I'll be using ID, and which value, whatever the value that you are passing. See this value, same value from the function. I'll be using it here. Right. So likewise, I can create multiple cases. Case number 1 for ID, then name, then let's see XPath, then CSS, and the link text that you can use it here. Or tag name also you can use it. So I'm just using a couple of ones. So let's see, this is for name. So I'll be using by.name here. And then I'm using, let's see, this is for XPath. Then this is my XPath. Then I'm using, this is for CSS. Then I'm using, in this case, CSS selector. And then let's see, I'm using one more. Let's see, which is for link text. Is a link text here. And then I'm using link text, and whatever the link text value that you are passing. So I'll be creating the buy locator on the basis of that, and then do what? Right. And then finally, I'll simply say you return the same locator. It means return this particular buy locator. So that's why the return type of this method will be buy only. Perfect. Now I'll come over here in this method back to line number 20. So now I need a buy locator. So can I call this method? get by method, this method. Of course, I can call it and passing the locator value and the locator type and the value from here. And then it will create the find element, and then this method will return the entire find element over there. So let's see, instead of void, I'll be using web element. Simple. So I can maintain my by locator in my page class. That approach also I can use it. If you really want to maintain in the form of strings, that approach also you can use it. So that's why I have overloaded this method as such a nice example of method overloading in Selenium like this. Both methods are giving web element on the basis of this method is creating the by locator by its own with the help of this. And in this method is actually asking for the by locator in advance so that I can give you the web element from this function. Simple. So this function is also ready. Now what we have to do is we have to start creating the page now. Okay. So according to this diagram, element util is ready, factory is ready, config.property is ready, and these properties, 2 files we have created. And then we have to create now homepage.java and then hometest.java. We have to create that. So let's quickly, homepage.java should be created under src main java. I'm going to create a separate package for this. So let's create a pages package. We are going to automate only one single page, and rest of the things exactly will remain same for other pages also. So let's create a class over here, and let's see, this is my homepage.java. Under this homepage.java, see this carefully. What exactly I'm going to do that? First, I'm going to maintain, I'm going to create the constructor of this class. So let's create one public constructor, public homepage, and this saying, okay, fine, you give me the web driver, a driver over here, okay, like this, and import this. And if you really want to use any private driver over here in this particular homepage class, that also you can use it. And the same driver you supply with the help of this dot driver is equal to driver. See guys, we have to maintain and flow of the driver from one method to another method, from one class to another method. We have to maintain the single driver. This is what you have to understand. Majority of the people, they do the mistake here. Do not write web driver equal to new ground driver once again. That is done already with the driver factory over here. Now we have to circulate the same driver, and I'll tell you, when you connect all these components together, then you will get to know why we are doing this. So I'll go to my this method once again, and I'll do one thing. I'll be maintaining my private element util also. Okay, and this is my element util reference that I have created, and then import this, okay, this class from the utility, and element util class object also immediately I'll initialize. Otherwise, if you perform any method with this reference, it will give you null pointer exception. So we have to initialize it. So let's initialize that is equal to what? New element util, and then what? Pass the same driver over here, because element util also needs a driver to create the web element, right? So what will happen when you create the object of this class? That's why we have created the constructor, so that we can pass the same driver. This is a nice technique to pass the driver from one page to another page with the help of constructor. You got the driver, and the same driver will be given to this guy, and the same driver will be used over here to create the web element. Okay, now go back to this homepage.java. Under this homepage.java, what exactly I'm going to do it now? I'm going to create, see this carefully, I'm going to maintain one private method first. Or let's start with the public, and then we will see that later. So let's see, public void, and my method name is C. I cannot maintain my @findby over here, because if you write @findby, right, and then let's say you're maintaining the X path for this application, or let's see for this contact, I'm going to create one X path where A contains a text is equal to contact. But this contact is actually a string which is coming from this keyword over here. So that is, I cannot maintain with the help of @findby, right guys? Because @findby page factory, if you are using it, how will you get that value? How will you pass the properties reference over there? That I cannot use it. Same thing, some people what they do, that see, I'm going to want in contact is equal to, I want to use by.xpath, and then I want to create the xpath over here, /A, and then I'm going to use, let's see, contains, or let's say I directly use text function over here. Text is equal to what? The text is equal to this, whatever the text is written, contact. But don't you think it will be a hard-coded value? This will work only for English, but for French it will not work. So this context should come from where? This context should come from this French language.properties file. So that's why I'm not going to maintain by locator strategy. I'm not going to maintain any @find by also. So let me remove that. So that's why what we have to create, we have to maintain the methods here. So that's why I'm going to create my method. My method name is, let's say I want to interact with the header element. Remember this this one? We have to check this header, peace, dignity and equality or something like this. Right? So I simply say, okay, fine, you give me the header value like this, starting bracket, ending bracket, and then I'm quickly create the header XPath over here. So let's see, this is my header XPath value, which is equal to what? XPath should be written within double quotes. And let's see, I want to create the XPath of this guy, right? This one. And see, this is a and where the peace, dignity and the equality is written. So I'll simply create one XPath over here, /A, where I'll be using contains text is equal to what? The text is equal to this, and text comma. So it is pointing to this guy, right? So I have to pass this English value over here. This English value is coming from where? This English value is coming from the properties file that we have already maintained. So you can see that under English.properties, this header key is already maintained, and this is the value that we want to use it. So we want this header value from the properties file, right guys? Otherwise there is no chance that you can create the XPath, because I don't want to create this hard-coded XPath. If you use this same XPath over here like this, then this is only for English, right guys? So what we have to do, you give me whatever the language specific header, and then I'll be appending over here, right? So I'll be appending with single quote, double quotes like that, and append it over here like this. So this is the XPath. At the runtime I'll be creating it, and then I'll be doing what? I'll say, okay, fine, element util dot, then I'll be using this get element method. Which element method I'll be calling? Second method, okay? And then I'll be passing, okay, fine, what is your locator type? Locator type is XPath. I want to create the XPath, and this is your XPath value. So you take this XPath value over here. So what will happen when you call this method, get element method? This method will be called locator type is XPath and locator value that we have already given, and then it will call this get by method. It will go to locator type is equal to what? XPath. It will come over here, and by.xpath will be created here, and then it will return the by locator. Okay, and then when you come back here, so what will you get? Here you will be getting your, so I'll simply say, okay, return the same element. So instead of void, what should I write? I have to write a web element here. So instead of creating your @find by or by locator directly, we are using this approach over here. Perfect. So let's see, this is the get header element that I have created. But on this method will just give you a web element. But after that, what do you want? After that, I want to perform some action. Let's see, dot get text or whatever. So I'll write, okay, fine. I'll write public void get header value like this. So I'll simply say, okay, fine, get header value, and this header value we will be passing it. Okay, so that also we will check. We will be passing this header value from the test class. So string header value, and first of all that I'll be calling this method. Can I call this method get header element so that I can get the element? And this is the same header value I'll be giving to this guy. It will create the XPath, and then creating the by locator, give me the web element, and then I'll be using a dot get text over here. And the moment I get text, I'll store in a string variable. So let's see, this is my header is equal to this, and then I'll be printing it on the console. See, you have to avoid all the hard-coded values. Perfect. And then what exactly I'm going to do that? I simply say, okay, fine. Then I'll write if whatever header. I can put a condition here that first of all you print it. If header is not equal to a null, then do what? Then what you do? You simply write return. Again, you call this method get header element method. Okay, with the header value. And then you check, okay, fine, this method is displayed or not, like this. So instead of this void, I have to write a boolean here, right? And if nothing is getting satisfied, then you finally return a null over here from this function. Like this also you can do that, or directly what you can do is that instead of passing the text, okay, or let's remove this null. What you do, you simple return, remove this if condition, simple return whatever. After printing the text, you can return this header also, or let's say I'm just simple returning that element is displayed or not over there. Okay, this I'm doing just to show you guys that okay, this is how we are printing it on the console, and then I'm just checking it is displayed or not after that. Okay, so let's see, this method is ready. Right, so likewise, so first of all, with this method, this according to the page object model, we have to use the encapsulation also. Encapsulation in the form of that, okay, this method I have to make it private actually, because this is just to create my web element. It should not be exposed to the end user or to the test client. Test client will always call this method, okay, fine, you give me the header value. That's it. Or check that, okay, header is displayed or not. So I'll simple write is header exist or not. That is a better method. I'll be writing it. Okay, I'll be giving this header value and check if this header is there or not on the page. So this should be private in nature and should be called over here. So we can see, yeah, something like that. We can do it, and it should not be exposed to the test client. Okay, now same thing, I'll be creating another method. So you have to keep creating private public combinations for different locators as well. So let's see, this time I'm going to create what? I'm going to use that, okay, let's see this contact, this contact. So I say that, okay, get contact element. Get contact elements, I'll give you the contact value. So this is the contact value that I'll be giving to you, and the same contact value that I'll be creating one XPath over here like this. And let's see, this is my, instead of header XPath value, this is my contact XPath value, right? And the same contact XPath value I'll be giving to this guy. So what will happen? Again, get element method will be called, and you will be getting your contact over here, right guys? Perfect. Okay, so this contact value, we have to use it over here. Okay, and the same contact XPath value, we have to pass it over here like this. Now I'll do what? I'm going to create another method to perform some action on it. So I'll do one thing this time, once again, that I'll check that, okay, is contact exist or not. Perfect. So this is the contact value that I'll be giving over here, and the same contact get text, and this is your just print it on the console, whatever the contact is available like this, and the same contact value I'm going to check is displayed or not here or not. Okay, so return, and I'll be calling this method actually here. Perfect guys. So again, I have created one private method and then public method. So from the test.ng, I'll be calling this method, and from my side, I'll be giving the contact value in English or French. Okay. Okay, so this is, let's see, homepage.java. That's enough. I mean, these two methods are enough. Right now, we are not using driver, so you can avoid this line right now. We are not using it. And now last thing is that we have to create, the final thing is the test class. So let's go to src test java, go to new and create a package. Let's see, this package name is my test package. Under this package, I'm going to create a simple test class, and this is my homepage test class. And this test will be, we will be writing either JUnit or test.ng. So we are going to use test.ng now. So how will you write it? So in test.ng, we have to, first of all, that create couple of things, because now we have to initialize a driver and everything. So we have to call the method, this method initialize driver. So how will you call it? With the help of driver factory class. So what we need to maintain one driver factory reference over here. So let's see, this is my df reference. We have to initialize the properties also. So I'll be writing that, okay, fine. This is my config property reader reference also. I have to create that. So let's see, this is my CP config property reference that I have created. And then both the classes you have to import. So let's import that. Okay. Then what exactly I'm going to do that? I'm going to write my @ before test annotation here. And then I'll be writing public void. This is my setup method, and the tear down method, I'll be writing it. In setup method, what you need first of all, you need properties you have to initialize. So can I create the object of CP over here? I mean config properties reader, CP is equal to new config property reader that I have created, right guys? And then this CP dot, see this method that we created, initialize language prop, right? So initialize language prop, it means you have to give me the language here. Okay, so this method will be called, if I'm passing language is equal to French, so this case will be satisfied, and then it will connect with the French dot properties and it will load the properties from the French language, from the French property language, right guys? So let's see, I'm saying that you have to get it from the French language. So this is the hard-coded value right now, I'm writing it. Later on we will replace with the Maven command line. After that, what we have to do, this initialize language property is giving you properties class object reference. So can I store inside the properties class reference? Let's see, properties prop here, and I simply say this is my prop is equal to this. Perfect. Now the moment I get my prop, this is what I want. So I'll do one thing. After that, I'm going to create the object of driver factory. So simple create df is equal to new driver factory object. Okay. See, I'm going to create this. It's getting loaded, 1 second. Driver factory class object that I have created. Okay, and this, with the help of driver factory, I have to call this method initialize a driver. On which browser? So let's see, right now I'll simply say, okay, let's see, only one browser I want to use it for my POC, and the property reference that I have already captured, and then you give it to this guy. It means all the French properties you give it to this method. So what will happen? Initialize driver method will be called, and this initialize driver method, browser equal to Chrome, and the prop is what? The properties class object, and Chrome is equal to this. Chrome will be launched, and then it will come over here, and then see this. This prop is pointing to the French property. So French property prop dot get property and give me the URL. Which URL? It means this property URL will be picked. This URL property will be picked. Okay. So that's it. And this initialize driver method will give you what? This method is giving you the web driver. So I'll do one thing and maintain my a separate reference over here like this. Okay, and then maintain the same driver over here is equal to this. This is what I want. And then I want to create the object of homepage class. So I'll simply say, okay, fine, this is my homepage class object. I'm going to create it so that I can call all the methods of homepage class, right? So this homepage, I'll be using it is equal to what? New homepage, right? And then I'll passing the driver over here. Remember, because inside my homepage, I have created one constructor here. You have to give me the driver, and the same driver will be given to the element util. So that element util class constructor will be called, and the same driver will be given to this guy, and the same driver I can use it in my utility. So you don't need to write that ugly code driver.findElement again and again like this. Perfect. So now I got my homepage class reference. This is how we design the page object model. And then I'll be using, this is my @ after test annotation. And let's see, public void, this is my tear down method. And then I'll be writing my driver.quit over here and import your @ after test. Now I just need to maintain my test over here. The first test that I'm going to write, public void, and the method I'm going to write, this is the method header test method I'm going to write, right guys? And then how will you call this method? So I got my reference homepage dot. See, I have created only two methods. Other two methods are private in nature. So I'll be calling is header exist or not. See this, I'm calling this method now, which is going to call this private method internally to get the element. And then I'm going to check, okay, fine, you print the text on the console, or you can return the text also, but I'm returning it is displayed or not. If it is returning a Boolean display, so can I assert it with the assert true? Okay, I'll be writing, sorry, assert true, I'll be using it, and this. But the question is that how will you pass the header value? This header value, I'll be using this now. So I'll be using this prop, dot get property and which key that you are looking for. I'm looking for, see, that's why I'm using the same key. See, language, URL, header, title, contact. Same key you have to maintain: language, URL, header, title, and the contact. So I'll be using this header, and the respective values will be different in the respective properties class. That doesn't matter. I just need to get the key header because this property is already initialized with the French language. So that's why this property is pointing to the French properties only. So when I capture this header, I'll be getting the French header only. Right, guys? Is header exists, then you immediately assert. Same one more test I'll be writing for the contact as well. So let's see. I'll be writing, this is my contact. This is my footer contact at the footer page, whatever footer test. And I'll write that, okay, is a contact exist. So I'll simple write prop.get property, and for contact, do we have any property? Yes, contact property. I'll be using it. So simple go to home page test. Key will remain same. Doesn't matter you are picking it from English or French. So what will happen is contact exit method will be called, and I'm passing the contact from the French. So French is this, see this, something like this, nose or something like that. And then what will happen? In this case, it will be given to this guy. So I'll be calling this get header element. Okay, so no, we have to pass is a get contact element actually. Okay, so I'll be calling this get contact element, and the same contact value that are coming from the French will be appended over here. So I have created the XPath, and the same XPath value I'll be giving to this guy with this XPath key. So get element method will be called, and then the locator type and the locator value will be called with the help of get by method, and that's it. I'll be getting the web element, and then I'll be returning what? An element over here. The moment I get my element, I'll apply the get text printed on the console, and then immediately I'll check, okay, fine, it is displayed or not as well. I can use it. Okay. So instead of calling this 2 times, you can call it 1 time, store in the web element, and then check is displayed or not, like this. Also, you can do it. Anyways, so that is optimization of the code that we can do it later. So these 2 tests are ready now. Will this work? Let's see. So let's see. I'm going to run this class, and if there is any error is coming, we will see that. So let's run as test.ng. Okay, so browser is launched. See, we haven't executed yet. From last half an hour, we are just writing the code. See, this is a French language. Awesome. You can see the URL is coming with the French. It means it read the property properly, and 2 test cases are absolutely working fine. Awesome. And here you can see the console output. It's printing the contact in the language, French language, and it's printing that header also in the French language. This is super awesome. And if you really want to check it in English, I simply change my English language over here. So I'll write, okay, fine, I want to test my application with English. Now let's run it and let's see. So it should launch the application with English, and the contact and the header should be printed in the English language only. See, you can see the URL is coming in English. See, /en, and awesome. You can see that on the console, 2 test cases got passed: contact, peace, dignity, and equality, like that. Perfect. So this is the first thing, amazing thing that we can do it, but still this is a hard-coded value. What we can do is that now we can do one thing. We will pass this value from the command line, right? Because this is the hard-coded value right now. So let's remove it, or you can maintain your test.ng.xml file from there also at the suite level, in which language that you want to pass, that also you can do it. I'll do one thing. I'll just simply remove this guy from here. Okay. And I'll go to this method initialize language property and remove this also from here. Right. And then I'll do one thing. From the Maven, I'll be using certain command like this: Maven clean install. Right, guys. And -d env or -d language environment variable I'll be using, and the language is what? Let's see, I'm passing French over here directly from the command line. So this language is what? Is a environment variable from the command line. So I have to read this. So in Java, how will you read that? So I simply write system class here, system.get property method. I'll be using it. And what is my key? This is the key, guys. This is the language lang key. I have to use it over here. Okay. So this lang key will give you what? It will give you a string. Okay. Let's say I'm storing in the same variable here, which is equal to this. That's it. So this language, I'm using it now, which is actually coming from the command line, from the user side. Okay, so here you don't need to maintain any hardcode value. See, I have removed it now. But when you run this program now, so if you run it from here, then it will not work. Why? Because it needs one parameter. See, it will launch the browser, but it's giving you the test cases got failed here. You can see that on the console. See, this is giving you null pointer exception because null value is there, URL equal to null, because nothing got initialized. Because what will happen when you initialize this lang property, you are not passing anything from the command line. So you have to pass the command line argument now. How will you do that? So for this, we have to execute from the Maven. Why we are doing it? Because exactly same thing you can do it with the Jenkins also. So I'll do one thing. Go to properties and let's go to the command line. Copy this entire path of the project. Okay, of this project, and go to the terminal. And let me just clear it. And change the directory. Okay, and see this. This is my project here. You can see in my workspace multi-language project that I have already created. This is the project. I'll simply write Maven clean install -d env is equal to which language you want to execute your test cases. I simply say I want to execute in my French language. Simple pass it over here, not env. You have to pass lang, because the same lang we are using it here as well. Can you see that? This, and we are reading this property. This is your command line property. Okay, so let's run it and let's see it is working or not. Okay, command started, Maven started, browser is getting launched. Awesome. Launching in French, perfect. And okay, let's let it run. Application is still loading, and then done. Awesome. See, 2 test cases got passed and they both are coming in the French language over here. This is super awesome, right guys? And here you can see that language is French and browser is Chrome. Right, now let's quickly check on different language also. So I want to start in English. So let's run it and let's see. It means your application should launch in the English locale with the English browser URL. So here you can see English, everything is coming in English, and then it will quickly check with English. Perfect. Here you can see 2 test cases are absolutely working fine and the things are coming in English only. Perfect. And here you can cross check. Language is English, lang is English, and browser equal to Chrome. And let's see, I want to execute in Russian, but for Russian we don't have any property, right guys? So see, if I'm passing a Russian, but the bug means here we are maintaining one case for Russian, but here it will check, okay, Russian is not available. Immediately it will throw the exception here and it will come inside the catch block. It will come inside the catch block and it will throw file not found exception or something like this, and then I'll be printing my own custom message over here that okay, that properties file not found, something like this. Okay, for which language? So whatever the language that you are passing, right, I'll just appending over here so that we will get a nice message over here. Language plus properties file not found. Okay, so if I'm running with Russian, because Russian properties are not available. Okay, see, it's saying that test case got failed, null pointer exception is coming, entry is null, and before that see, Russian properties file not found, like this. Okay, I know that we could be in a better way also we can improve it, because unnecessary why to launch the browser if language is not found. That check we can put it beforehand instead of launching the browser like that. But anyways, this is absolutely working fine. So what you have to do now, what you just need to do, maintain multiple properties file, guys. One is for French, English, Russian, Arabic, Chinese, and whatever the language that you prefer according to your system. I mean, according to your application, and then keep maintaining the keys over there like that. Okay. Now, if you really want to enter the value on the search, the same search will be available on the French also, like this. So for that, you can maintain a separate bilocator, right guys? Because here it doesn't matter. If you really want to click on this, Here the text is not involved. So you have to maintain the properties file only for those elements which are having some text, because text will be different according to the different language, right? For buttons and all such things, let's see, we really want to click on some link over there or maybe some button without using the text. In that case, you just need to maintain in your home page, you need to maintain your bilocator, right? So that you can do it for that. So this is just a small project, I would say kind of POC, which is absolutely working fine. And then you can extend this framework to the next level. I'll do one thing. I'll just upload this entire code or push this entire code to my Git repository, share the Git URL. Please practice and let me know if you have any issues, and please suggest if you have any other approach that you are already using in your framework or in your company. Feel free to comment in the comment section there. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you got to learn some really good stuff over here. If you really like it, please subscribe and like and share with others so that people will get benefits out of these videos. Thank you so much and God bless you all.